What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla SPY and a couple of other tickers. I'm break down some very important news coming out for the markets. It's going to cause some high volatility very soon, but I think it may end up happening to the markets from now until we get to that next big piece of data. But before I break into details information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100, you're guaranteed 7 free stocks. They're going to be fractions from the Magnificent 7. So if you want this opportunity, guys, check it out before they run out in just a couple of weeks. Anyways, now let's break down what's happening to the markets. Looking at Tesla, we got this nice little pop upon open before we ended up dropping back down exactly as we predicted. I did call this out in my morning video that Tesla might retest the 180 zone before coming back up. And since then, Tesla's been kind of trading within this range. And I think that's going to likely continue with this price action for the time being. Now, with SPY pushing just a bit, this could actually help Tesla to some extent with the market kind of getting bought up a little bit. But I don't really expect this to be the big move. I don't really expect this to be too crazy because I want to make it very clear the next piece of data is going to cause an even bigger move. So we had all the data come out. As a reminder, at 10 a.m., we had the JOLTS job openings a little bit below expectations. And besides that, we're starting to see some signs of economic weakness. I would say a little bit of contraction when it comes to new orders kind of slowing. Manufacturing prices are still kind of high despite that. So the economy, in my opinion, is slowing. However, there's going to be more data that's going to affect how we end up moving. That's going to be what the Fed ends up announcing. So it's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 2 p.m., we have the interest rate hike decision coming out. There is most likely going to be, the Fed's not going to raise rates. They're going to likely skip on any rate hikes or any cuts or anything like that for May 1st, which is today. There's currently about a 99% chance that that is going to happen if you look at the May calendar. But let me make it very, very clear that even though that is the case, we're going to be more concerned about what happens later on. So this right here is for May. You guys can see there's a 99% chance the Fed keeps rates the same. For September, however, that's when we're kind of anticipating the stronger possibility of the Fed starting to like cut or so. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. This could shift depending on what Jerome Powell says today. If Powell's a lot more hawkish, we could start to see this go up a little bit and this actually could decrease more. If that's the case, that would be a little bit more bearish for the markets. If Powell is more dovish, we could see this target probability go up depending on what the Fed ends up announcing. Now, keep in mind that the last inflationary data has been a little bit hotter than expected. If you look at inflation, it's been actually increasing for the last couple of months. So you want to be very careful with this. This is what the data is showing us for all items, especially for that. It's still very important for the Fed to continue to monitor all of this. So we'll see what happens with all of that. So once again, the market's not that crazy, not doing anything that insane for now. We are pushing a bit, but at 2 p.m. we have the rate hike decision coming out. I'll give you guys an update once that comes out. And then at 2:30 p.m. we have the Fed press conference when Jerome Powell is going to be giving his speech. Whatever Powell says is going to have a big effect on the markets, so we'll wait for that to cause a much bigger move. There's also news coming out about Tesla, how it's pulling out of the supercharger leases after firing the entire supercharger team. That is a little bit sad news, if anything. However, Musk is still very much just fixated on Tesla continuing to grow the entire department. They're still trying to grow the supercharger network, and they're not giving up despite this department base getting laid off. That's very important to note. I'm still seeing more headlines coming out about this, but everything is very minor for now. So what do I see for the markets? Here's my view. Tesla's still in this range. You guys could see as we approach this 178 to 179 zone, Tesla likes to get bought up right here. And then as we start pushing up, we have resistance at 182 right up here and then 184. So we're kind of just within this range, and we're likely going to continue to stay in this range for some time until we get the rate hike decision and until Jerome Powell starts his speech. That's when we're going to see either a big rug pull. If we lose 178, we turn very bearish and we could start seeing this thing tipping to 175 or even the low 170s. If we break past 184, we can start pushing towards the higher 188 plus area if we end up getting a big move. So we'll be waiting to see what happens once all this data comes out starting at 2 p.m. and then 2:30 p.m. So get ready for some high volatility, especially when Jerome Powell starts speaking. For SPY, for the people interested in this, this is also trading in a very, very interesting manner. Now, I do want to call out the possibility of an inverse head and shoulders like structure that could be developed. And if this does lead to more upside, this could actually help the market to some extent. There's a possible inverse head and shoulders in the 5-minute time frame. However, don't solely trade based off this. I just wanted to call this out as one confluence of support. I wanted to make it very clear that we're still holding above 500 quite nicely, and we're starting to push a little bit more If Powell pumps the markets, SPY is going to be running very, very nicely up to these higher levels. We could be making our way all the way up back towards basically 506. And if Powell causes the opposite, if we're about to start sinking back down, we're going to be looking for a move all the way back down to about 498. So we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. So far, the chart looks a little bit more bullish, but just to be safe, I'm going to be very, very patient. For Nvidia is still kind of stuck within the range. I did call out Nvidia dipping towards 830 in my video from yesterday. Even in the morning, I said I might see a little dip, and that's what happened. We're still within this range at 830 as support and currently 844 as resistance, followed by about 854 our 200 EMA. So we'll see which way it breaks. If we break past 844, look for a bigger push. If we lose 830, excuse me, if we lose 830, we're going to be dipping even more. So overall, we're kind of stuck right now. We'll see if Nvidia gets a bounce thanks to Powell. We may actually decline a bit and just continue to trade in this range for some time before we see a big reaction after we get Jerome Powell's speech. So keep that in the back of your mind. For the triple Qs, just like SPY, we are still kind of trading sideways. I mentioned to everyone it might dip close to about the 420 area. We came to 421 before it came back up, and now we're kind of stuck. However, let me just call out that just like SPY, there's a possible inverse head and shoulders like structure. Now, does this guarantee anything? Not necessarily. Nothing is promised based off this, but this does suggest there's a possibility of seeing some upside. So this might lead to a move to the upside depending on what we get from the data. And if we break through this resistance right here, if we get above 424, that's going to be another big sign of strength. And we could easily go up towards this trend line right here at 426.7 or even higher than that depending on the timing. So I am seeing potential in this market to try to bounce, but it's also going to depend on what we get from the data. So we'll just have to wait and see. And we'll be very patient nonetheless just to give the market some time. All right. So on top of that, we also have Aapl stock. Aapl is also showing some strength. So I mentioned to everyone it might dip a little bit and try to rebound. That's what we're kind of doing for now. And now we're at this 171 area. If we break through this, we could be going all the way up to 172.75 if we keep pushing. So I'm seeing potential in this as well. So I'm seeing some signs the market may try to bounce soon. And if the market does bounce, this could also help Tesla try to rebound a little bit higher, get back to these higher liquidity zones. But for now, I just want to say Tesla's range bound until we get more data, and we will see if the data causes the market to pump or not. Make sure you're open minded, make sure you're prepared just to be safe. For Amazon, I just want to call out that Amazon, it's also on a very, very nice trend right here. It's actually continuing to chop around, but there is potential for this to try to get back up to about 181. Same thing with Coinbase. We called out that this thing may dip a little bit more before trying to rebound. We're kind of stuck very, very choppy between these EMAs. If it breaks past the 200 EMA, we could be looking for 210. If we lose 200, look for a bigger dip. In my personal opinion, it has potential, so we'll give it some time. And the same thing could be said about Meta. I see potential in Meta as well. It managed to hold above 430 quite nicely. It's trying to rebound towards 440, and we'll see if this continues to push thanks to the FOMC meeting, but that's something worth noting. The VIX is kind of flat right now, not really doing a whole lot, so the market it's not that crazy. It's just slowly uptrending, especially on SPY. So we'll see if we continue with the pump or not. So with that being said, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. Please have a great day, and I'll see you guys very, very soon on the next video update in just a couple of hours. So once again, guys, final reminder, at 2 p.m., we have the interest rate hike decision coming out. That's when the Fed announces what they're going to be doing with economic projections and such. And at 2:30 p.m., we have the Fed press conference when Jerome Powell opens his mouth and gives his speech. So get ready, guys. Do what you have to do, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for listening, and peace out.